Let's talk about this Marvin Sapp situation. So a lot of people have already heard what's happened. If you haven't heard, a video has surfaced from 2024 where Marvin Sapp was speaking at a conference he was invited to. At the conference, he manipulated the word of God, held the attendees hostage, and attempted to extort $40,000 from them. Don't be fooled, that is exactly what happened. There's been a viral clip that's only about 2 minutes long and it just shows him trying to collect the offering, but I found another video and it's about 4 minutes long, 4 minutes and some change. It gives a little bit more context into the situation and how everything went.
Close the doors for me for a quick moment. I want everybody to remain standing quickly. How many of y'all really received something from the word of the Lord tonight? Listen, when you study scripture, you will notice that whenever God did something in the lives of the patriarchs of old, the patriarchs would pause, they would set up an altar, and they would offer up sacrifice. I asked each and every one of you how many of y'all received something from the word of the Lord. Everyone in this place said these words, I did. Because of your acknowledgement of what God did in word, there is an obligation that is attached to that acknowledgement. In biblical days, they offered livestock, grain. That was a type of currency. Note, if you will, I did not say money. I said currency. And this is what God is saying for at least 1,000 of you in the building. And this is simple. I'm not going to challenge you the way Bishop did. But I know that there's 1,000 individuals under the sound of my voice that can do what I'm about to challenge you all to do. This is simple. 1,000 people giving what I'm about to challenge will be $20,000. 1,000 people giving what I'm about to challenge you all to do will be $20,000. Now, for those of us who are on the dais, I'm taking you higher, so put it back. I'm a strong believer that leaders lead not only in time, not only in talent, but also in treasure. Leaders lead in time, talent, and treasure. I was taught a long time ago that it costs to sit up here. There's 1,000 of you. I said close them doors. Ushers, close the doors. Close the doors. Close the doors. We all gonna leave together. Y'all ain't going no place but to the restaurant. There's 1,000 of you tonight, and those that are watching, it's 1,000 that's watching online. This is a small seed. If I get 1,000 online to give this, if I get 1,000 in the sanctuary to give this, that's $40,000 tonight. Now, everyone up here, we've all sold and seeded, but I need everyone standing up here with us, with me, to plant a seed of $100. Because again, it costs to sit up here. Y'all start moving. Y'all can bring it right now. Come. Even if you're giving tangibly, just put your hand on take your phone and stick it on the bucket. Giving is worship. Giving is worship. 1,000 people online need to give $20. This is easy, saints. This is an easy miracle. We should be able to raise $40,000 tonight just from y'all giving. I'm about to go get in my truck. I'm going to my hotel. I got me some fruit. I'm doing fruit now. Fruit and water. I'm trying to look at us. Yeah. Now after you come up here, you can open the doors. Y'all walk out the door after you come up here. But make sure you come this way before you go out the door. That's it. Look at God. Look at what God has done. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I'm good. I'm out. Peace.
You saw it. He told the attendees straight up because they acknowledged that they received a good word. Now they are obligated to pay him, pay the organization that put the conference together. Who cares? He said they were obligated to pay. He then gave them a specific dollar amount to pay. $20 from 1,000 attendees that were in the audience, $20 from 1,000 people watching online, and $100 from each person in leadership on stage. I'm not even getting into him holding everybody hostage, saying close the door, and letting them know that they can leave after they come up there with their tithe. Let's just focus on the fact that he used manipulation and coercion tactics to get people to pay money and then gave them a specific dollar amount as well, which are both not biblical teachings. There is one requirement for tithes and offerings under the new covenant. This is not for debate and not to be taken out of context at any time. 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 7. Each of you should give what you have decided in your heart to give, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. What did Marvin Sapp do in this moment? He introduced compulsion to the equation and took away the ability for all the attendees and leadership to give what they have on their hearts. That's not okay, that's not biblical, and that is not debatable. I'm actually what people call a PK, which is a pastor's kid. That's for those of you that don't know. I'm sure that everybody that cares about the situation, they already know. At this time, I would say much more often than not, my life does not reflect that of how the Bible intends for us to live. You can look through my channel and see that I have nothing to hide. A big reason as to why I am not involved with any churches simply comes down to the people running ministries. My father actually stepped down from ministry on his own accord because of all the hustling and all the corruption that goes on. I don't want to speak for him too much, but from my understanding, that's what it is. Something I admire about his process from being an usher to his ordination to eventually actually leading congregations. And I say this confidently, though no man is perfect, he did his very best to lead people into having a relationship with Christ. This is something that I truly do believe is not debatable. He's true to this and he's a very honest man. He never had his own church per se. He was co-pastoring. Let's just say it's a whole lot of things that happen behind the scenes that God simply would not approve of. Maybe one day I'll get him in a video if he is willing to talk about this stuff, and I'm sure that he would be. I say all that to say throughout the years, my dad has given me some good game. To tie these experiences back to this situation, when we're talking about the business of saving souls, a lot of times there's much more emphasis on the business and not that much on saving souls. This is a prime example of that. Now let's actually get back on what actually happened and touch on this whole hostage and extortion situation. In that 4-minute clip, Marvin Sapp said close the door 5 times. At the end of that clip, he said the attendees can leave once he saw them either come up with the cash or tap their phone. A lot of people saying that he was not intending to keep people from leaving the building, but what would you call all of that? What exactly does it mean when he says you can leave once you do this? It means that if they did not agree, they couldn't leave. He guilt tripped everybody and used shaming tactics to get them to give money. The statement about how everybody ain't doing nothing but getting ready to go to a restaurant. Bringing up his dead wife and a date they went on and trying to make $20 seem like some minuscule amount of money while he's sitting up there with a bust down Rolex probably worth tens of thousands of dollars and a freaking Cuban link bracelet. $20 could be the difference between a person having rent money, groceries in a house, gas, the water bill being paid, the phone bill being paid. It could be the difference of a lot of things to a lot of people. He's rich and a millionaire. He's been disconnected for I don't know how long. The fact that he could even fix his mouth to say something like that just shows how disconnected he is. There's a saying that's summed up just about like this: people are only in church when they're in need, and in need of much more than just spiritual healing. You simply cannot make statements like that. What's really crazy is that there was a bunch of leadership on stage with him and none of them had the balls or what really just seems like the knowledge to tell him, hey, what you're doing right now is not biblical. All very worrisome. We didn't have vision on anything but him during the video, but you could tell just by the way he was speaking. Everybody was confused about everything that he was doing. Close the doors. The reason he had to say it 5 times was because the ushers were like, is he for real? Are we really about to do this right now? It was crazy. When he turned around and asked for $100, you could tell the old dudes up there was like, huh? Is we doing this? Like, this is what we doing? In the end, though, everybody went along with it and nobody had anything to say during the moment. And this is a prime example of why people call churches cults. Nobody questioned it whatsoever. That's a very dangerous thing. Whether the money was for him, whether the money was for the organization, whether the money was for some widow, some orphan because somebody's house burned down, somebody's tuition, the methods at which you use to get that bread was absolutely terrible. You should not have ever done that. That's the bottom line. And this reflected terribly on a Black church community. The manipulation and coercion, taking a Bible out of context and using it against people. It's exactly why a lot of us steer away from church. My problem isn't with the Bible, it's with the people, the church. Pimping a pulpit is very real, and it happens a lot more than people would ever like to admit. Those involved in these congregations, that is. It happens at small scale churches. It happens at larger scale churches. It happens at mega churches. Definitely. There definitely needs to be some reform, and people need to wake up and hold their shepherds accountable for false teachings. Bottom line. That said, I feel like a mistake like this is redeemable. I feel like everything can be redeemable for the most part. There's some things I draw the line at, but this, it can be redeemed if you just have some accountability and fix your wrongdoing by doing better later on. Marvin Sapp failed miserably. Marvin Sapp went on Ricky Smiley's morning show and addressed this whole situation. I personally was not pleased with his response. Before I talk about this, I just want to say Marvin Sapp and Ricky Smiley are both Greek Life affiliates, meaning they are both frat boys. If you've seen my video covering the Caleb Wilson situation, you know that I think that Greek Life is a cult. White fraternities and sororities, the Divine Nine Black fraternities and sororities. But you really can't trust these individuals to hold each other accountable unless it's all performative. And Ricky Smiley did not ask any real questions pertaining to the situation. His biggest concern was being a loyal friend and trying to help clear his friend's name of any wrongdoing. You can't even trust anybody like that, really, because everybody has their moments, you know what I'm saying? And everybody should be held accountable for their moments, whether we are or not. That's a different story. But if our friends see us doing something wrong, if we see our friends doing something wrong, we should hold them accountable and let them know, give at least constructive criticism. Not doing so causes our growth to be stagnated. Let's get into it though. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, just the things that I find important.
Rick Smiley Morning Show, 25 minutes after the hour, y'all. Our next guest has been all over the internet lately, and he's here with us today to set the record straight. He's an award-winning singer, bishop, and pastor of the Chosen Vessel Church in Fort Worth, Texas. Joining us this morning is a friend of the show, Marvin Sapp. And good morning. Thank you for joining this morning.
Thank you.
And listen, let me say this. I'm not here to exploit this situation. You are my friend.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm a real friend. I'm a loyal friend. You understand? And I haven't even talked to you this week.
No,
I know your phone was blowing up, but I had sense enough that everything that you sat here and said during the commercial break, I already knew. You don't have to explain that to me. I grew up in the church in your own way. In your own way. Let's start with the attacks that on you and the death threats on you and your family.
Well, let me just start.
Just whatever way you want to start.
Sorry to stop the video so early. I don't like doing that, but immediately Ricky Smiley wanted to deflect from the situation at hand and focus on what other people were doing as a response. He's talking about threats on a man and his family's life, and I mean, that's not right. Whether I think it's true or not, I think it's debatable, and plus the internet is full of a lot of crazy things. It could all just be trolling for all I know. It could be true. I don't know. But just notice the deflection and realize that Ricky Smiley has no intention of really addressing the situation at hand. And that was the fact that he held these people hostage. He gave them a dollar amount to give for their tithe. And that is completely not of God and not in the Bible whatsoever.
Let me just start by saying first, Ricky, I thank you for this opportunity.
Yes, sir.
You know, I thank you for the opportunity to be able to come on your show and for you to use your platform to give me a chance to just, add some context, some context and clarity to, a clip that, a whole lot of people have seen. Sadly, one of the things that has happened is, people have created a narrative that is absolutely not true. Number one, the narrative was created, excuse me, that I raised the money at my church, that I kept the people at my church hostage until I raised $40,000 for me. That's the narrative that has been shared, that I locked folks up at my church, that, I made them give $40,000 and I wouldn't allow them to leave until they gave it to me. And to be honest with you, that is absolutely false.
Yeah.
Number one, that offering was taken last year. This was a service that happened last August. Number two, it didn't happen at my local church. It actually happened at a national organization's international meeting, where churches from all over the country, all over the world came together for the purpose of celebrating the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. People took issue with me saying, shut the doors. Understand, I never said lock the doors.
Yeah.
I said shut the doors. Shutting doors mean that people still have the ability to go in and out. They've taken issue with my tone. And I can honestly say, you know, looking at the video, maybe I was a little more assertive than I should have been. And I can apologize for that. You know, I can apologize for that. But three things I need to make sure that people understood. Number one, the $40,000, if it was $40,000 that was raised, was never given to me. That money was raised for the purpose of taking care of the budget for their conference, not Marvin Sapp. Number two, it didn't happen at my church. It happened in Baltimore. Number three, you know, people take issue with me being firm with the ushers. Anybody that goes to church, ushers one-on-one, that's the first thing they teach you as being an usher, is that there are 3 times you don't walk. You don't walk during the altar call. You don't walk during prayer. You don't walk during the offering. One of the reasons being is because of the sacredness of the moment. But it's also about security. As a pastor, we understand and we know that churches are being robbed at gunpoint. It's happening all over the country. This is not something I'm making up. This is factual. So if you got 5,000 people in the room, you want the doors closed. You don't want the doors locked. I couldn't get them locked anyway. It's a convention center. But the doors needed to be closed, and there was a lot of pandemonium and stuff that was going on out there. But I wanted to share that first. But that ain't even the reason why I'm here. Here's the reason why I'm here. The reason why I'm here is because what has happened is people have taken clickbait and made something out of it that it isn't. And because of that, my church has been getting phone calls. People have called my church and cussed me out. My staff are afraid because I've received death threats over $20 and shut the door. People have come to our campus. They have come to my church to try to cause problems, issues, challenges. And again, my children, I don't look at comments. We talk about this. You know, I don't read comments. When you got millions of followers, you ain't got time to be reading all the comments. You just don't have it.
Right.
My children do. And they are afraid. And the reason being is because I'm their only parent. I'm a widower. You know, they're afraid for my safety. So now we've had to update and increase security and all the things I've never had to do before because of the vitriol and the anger that people have shown, the things that they've said in my thread and stuff. And all of this is because of a misunderstanding. And I'm not blaming people. Let me be clear. I'm not blaming anybody because of their misunderstanding. I'm just saying in all you're getting, get an understanding. And if I'm sharing with you that the $40,000 that I was trying to raise, and again, I don't know if the organization got 40, 10, 20, any of it. I don't know. I'm hoping that I actually raised more money so that I can help the organization that has been such a great support to me.
Let's go through this for a sec. This is damage control 100%. He has a great opportunity to take accountability for what's happened in the situation. He doesn't want to. He didn't address the problem, and it's the fact that what he did was not biblical. Y'all see, he said, I could have apologized for my tone, but he wanted to let us know 3 things that was all BS. This was not an apology, nor did he have any intention of addressing the elephant in the room. He's addressing things that don't matter at the end of the day. Who cares about the who's, the what's, and the wins? It doesn't matter when it happened. It doesn't matter that it wasn't at your church and at this conference. It doesn't matter what you were raising the money for. The way you went about getting that money was ultimately not of God. The other thing he did was lie about him allowing people to leave. We all saw the clip.
Look at us. Yeah. Now after you come up here, you can open the doors. Y'all can walk out the door after you come up here.
Was this not him? Arguing whether you said close the door or lock the door at this point, it's all semantics. It doesn't matter. He's failed the assignment and he's failing it miserably. One thing I want to touch on too is this whole, whether or not he gets paid for ministry, whether or not people should get paid or not. I think they should be paid. I'm not saying they should get rich off preaching, but I understand and I feel that people should get stipends every month. At least I see nothing wrong with it. I see nothing wrong with the housing allowance because, as I said, it's a lot of work that goes into being a pastor, a minister, a bishop, if that's the title y'all want to give people. You got services on Sunday, probably multiple. You got Bible studies, you got small groups, you got counseling. Everything costs. And the truth is, time is money in a sense. That's not the issue. And he's dancing around what actually is the problem. You talking about closing the doors was about security. I read somewhere this was the third offering taken that whole service. Somebody said they watched the whole service and said that somebody asked 12 people for $800. Another person asked 12 people for $500. And then Marvin Sapp comes in with his $40,000 demand, not including the money that would be collected from the leadership. If that's true, why did it take you until the third offering before you decided to close the doors? You talking about people that are coming to rob churches at gunpoint, and the whole time you are orchestrating a stick up right before everybody's eyes. I find that reasoning to be completely bogus, and I truly believe he's pulling all this out of his ass. Him bringing up the death threats as well, that's nothing but him trying to make you feel guilty for him facing the repercussions of his actions. Whether there's some meaning behind these threats or not, people are not doing this for no reason. This is a consequence of your actions. Oh yeah, and there's no misunderstanding. Everything we saw is what was.
These people, and again, let's be clear, not a dime of that money.
Not a dime of that money came to me. Not a dime of it.
And where did your money come from?
I've been blessed. I've been extremely blessed. I've sold millions of records. Millions. I'm a songwriter.
How much have you gotten paid from? And we on radio live.
Right.
How much have you gotten paid from your church? I'm just saying.
Okay, so
tell
see,
me
Ricky,
what you said during
I'm
the
gonna
commercial.
tell you. What people don't know is that I pastored 16 years in the city of Grand Rapids, Michigan. I founded my church. I pastored 16 years. We had a great church. Still have a great church there. 16 years of pastoring. I never got paid a dime. That's a fact. 16 years. You can call the church. You can ask them. I pastored the Lighthouse for Life Center Church in Grand Rapids, Michigan for free for 16 years. 9 years of those 16 years, I gave a minimum of $30,000 a month to my church. Wow. 30 grand a month to my church to ensure that the church could go forward. We had a lot of stuff. I had a college campus that we had bought. We had 3 other campuses, and my membership had dwindled after my wife had passed because I had to travel more in order to take care of me and my kids.
Right.
So, my membership, it dwindled, but we never lost anything. And as a matter of fact, this is factual. The day I announced the new pastor, I burned the mortgage of the church. When I left Grand Rapids, I left my church not only debt-free, but I left them with 6 figures in the bank and put a brand new pastor in and walked away and moved to Texas. I'm not walking around here trying to be a pimp. I'm not trying to take advantage of people. That's never been my passion. I'm serious about ministry. And let me go one step further. There's a whole lot of other pastors around here that are doing the same thing. Most pastors in America are bivocational, meaning they have jobs outside of their churches. The average church size in America is only 75 people. Look it up. It's factual. So we're not getting rich off the church. I am bivocational. I'm a W-2 employee at my church. I have a syndicated radio show that I do every week to over 60 different markets. I own real estate. I have mutual funds. I have annuities. I have stocks. I play the market. I took my money and I didn't trick it.
Money that you made from
money that I made from music,
records.
from hit records. I'm one of the only gospel artists with billions of streams.
And you tour.
And I tour. I just came off of a tour.
Sure.
That I made tons of money on. And I'm at the crib right now chilling because I don't have to go on tour. I can wait and do my next date.
Basically, you saying all that to say you don't need no $40,000.
I don't.
Got it.
And I will take it if they gonna give it to me. But I did not raise this money for the premise and purpose.
And that was
of
a program that helped you get to where you are.
They gave me a platform. This organization is an organization I grew up in. It's a church organization I grew up in, and I'm appreciative. The reason why I'm gonna bring up the organization because it ain't none of y'all business. But the point is these people gave me a platform, man, and the reason why I'm known today is because of the opportunities that this organization gave me. So for me to go back and be able to preach and raise
Give back.
finances and give back to them so that they don't have to go in debt. Listen,
Hold on. Hold that thought. Hold that thought, y'all. 25 before the top of the hour, y'all. We're talking to Marvin Sapp. More Marvin Sapp up next. Rick Smiley Morning Show.
I was just saying that, I think one of the most devastating things about this whole situation and circumstance is that, I'm literally praying for all of those who have actually spreaded the lie. And the reason being is because I don't think people really understand that when you do things like this, the effect that it has. Like if I was a weak guy, if I was a very weak person with all of the things that people have said in my comments and stuff like that, that my members of my church have read, that my children have read, people commit suicide on stuff like this.
Sure.
From this type of attack. And I know for a fact that there are some individuals that really don't have a clear understanding of the systems of the church. But then I know that there are some individuals that are listening even as I speak that have been church hurt, and that's the reason why they have a certain level of vitriol and bitterness as it pertains to the church. This particular situation for me is a church hurting situation because I did something for the church, but I'm taking abuse because of it. And that's what church hurt is all about. And as I just want people to really understand that this is something that we shouldn't do. Make sure you do your due diligence. Make sure you check out everything first. Make sure that you examine the information with clarity and context before you begin to share it. It's sad. I was labeled as a pulpit pimp. Now, honestly, let me be real, Rick. Some of this stuff is funny. They got this one meme that I was laughing this morning looking at with the Teddy Pendergrass fur coat on, and it got at the bottom of my face and said, "Close the door." It's hilarious. I'm just telling you, I can laugh at that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But let me go one step further. Everybody ain't able to handle that, and you all have to really, really be cognizant of it. You got to think about before you repost, before you slander, before you go in people's comments and say vile and just vitriol stuff. Make sure you know for a fact what it is that they've done. Now, if I was had babies all over the country, if I was, stealing money, if you found out that I was actually stealing money, I wouldn't mind being dragged. I wouldn't. But that's not what I done. And that's not what I did. The only thing I did was honor the leadership of our church's organization when they asked me to take up an offering. I tried to raise $40,000 for the organization, not for me personally. Right. The money that I make, I write songs. I own businesses. I have multiple streams of income. I have been good with the money and a good steward over the finances that God has given me. So
you don't have to explain.
At 58 years of age, if I don't drive a certain kind of car, there's a problem. That means I tricked off my money.
But you worked hard for it.
I work and still work hard.
And on tour and getting on planes.
Absolutely. Planes, trains, automobiles, hotels, motels, holidays.
And rehearsal.
Rehearsal.
And
I'm
singing and preaching on Sundays.
Doing
rehearsals and writing the song and producing and the hours and hours in the studio. Yeah, you worked hard for that.
All right, this over with now, man. This was a whole bunch of baloney. He'd rather argue that he didn't get the money versus arguing whoever the money was going to, the way that he got the money was not right. Everything he just did was an ego stroke. He boiled it all down to church hurt. He don't even got that right. Church hurt isn't you doing something for the church and then being chastised by others. Church hurt usually happens when you're doing something for the church when the whole time the church is your abuser. Generally speaking, that is how it manifests, and this is not that. Ego stroke, more manipulation, trying to guilt trip everybody, and failing to address the real problem. I'm glad that there's cameras, and I'm glad that things like this are able to be exposed because it'll maybe help everybody do better later on. Like I said, churches need reform, completely. Not every church is bad. I don't feel like that is, but it's so hard to weed out the good ones from the bad ones. At this point, like, we have to address everybody. One thing that I wish was a requirement was churches having to show their financial statements and show where money is going. I wish that it was all public information and it had to be by law. Transparency over financials is very, very, very hard to come by. I hope everybody involved with ministry is able to have that discernment that can help you recognize when things are done properly, when they're not done properly, and it will all help really churches move in the correct direction if we can hold people accountable for their wrongdoings. Maybe I'll have a change of heart eventually if that can be the case. But at this point, no, it's hard. We have kidnapping, extortion, manipulation of the word, and lack of accountability, as well as pride. And this is somebody's shepherd. I don't care how good of an artist you are. I don't care how long you've been in ministry. You do not have the right to do stuff like this. That's it for this video though. Let me know what you think about this whole situation. Was he right? Was he wrong? Am I crazy? I doubt it. But let me know what y'all think. I'll get at y'all later. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and have a good one.
Now you've seen the Lord in effect. You've witnessed the Lord's Spirit.
You were there!
Now it's time to pay the Lord.
Pay him off.
Pay that man his money. Now while I collect the offerings, Brother Pathos here will lead us in a song. Brother Pathos?
I think I saw him on the hill the other day. I think I saw him when I watched the children play. But when I opened up my voice to sing in praise, he ran away, far away. My singing made sweet Jesus run away. I did not have to wait for judgment.
Wait a minute, hold on. This ain't working.
Oh,
$1. What's this, $1? No, we tried to do it the Lord's way. Now we're going to do it the good old 125th Street, 7th Avenue way. Give up the money now. Pay the Lord.
you wanted heaven, now reach for it.
Give me them alligator shoes. Give it up. Give it up. I want shoes.
Now you get